Rebecca, by Daphne du Maurier, is a classic piece of literature that masterfully blends elements of romance, mystery, and Gothic fiction. Published in 1938, the novel continues to captivate readers with its haunting atmosphere, intricate plot, and compelling characters. This comprehensive analysis will include a detailed synopsis of the storyline, exploration of its themes, critique, historical context, and a brief biography of the author. Rebecca tells the story of a young, unnamed narrator who marries the wealthy widower Maxim de Winter. The novel begins with the iconic opening line, "Last night I dreamt I went to Manderley again," as the narrator reflects on her past experiences at the grand estate of Manderley. The story begins with the narrator working as a companion to the wealthy and overbearing Mrs. Van Hopper in Monte Carlo. There, she meets Maxim de Winter, a handsome and enigmatic widower who recently lost his wife, Rebecca, in a boating accident. Despite their age difference and her lower social status, Maxim and the narrator quickly fall in love and marry. Upon arriving at Manderley, the narrator is overwhelmed by the grandeur of the estate and the lingering presence of Rebecca. The housekeeper, Mrs. Danvers, is especially devoted to Rebecca's memory and resents the new Mrs. de Winter. She subtly undermines the narrator's confidence, making her feel inferior and unworthy of her new role. The narrator is constantly compared to Rebecca, who is remembered as beautiful, charming, and accomplished. The new Mrs. de Winter feels overshadowed by her predecessor and struggles to assert herself in her new home. The tension between the narrator and Mrs. Danvers escalates, culminating in a near-fatal incident when Mrs. Danvers almost convinces the narrator to commit suicide by jumping from a window. The turning point of the novel comes when Rebecca's sunken boat is discovered, and her body is found inside. This revelation leads to an inquest, where it is determined that Rebecca's death was not accidental. Maxim confesses to the narrator that Rebecca's public persona was a facade. In reality, she was manipulative and cruel, and their marriage was a sham. Maxim admits to confronting Rebecca on the night of her death, during which she taunted him with news of a terminal illness. In a fit of rage, he shot her and sank the boat to cover up the murder. As the truth comes to light, the narrator and Maxim's relationship strengthens, and they prepare to face the consequences together. However, the inquest concludes that Rebecca committed suicide, allowing Maxim to escape prosecution. Mrs. Danvers, furious at the revelation and the loss of her beloved Rebecca, sets Manderley on fire. The novel ends with the narrator and Maxim returning to find Manderley in flames, symbolizing the end of the past and the beginning of their new life together. Themes. The power of the past. One of the central themes of Rebecca is the influence of the past on the present. Rebecca's presence looms large over Manderley and its inhabitants, affecting their actions and relationships. The narrator's struggle to step out of Rebecca's shadow and assert her identity highlights the difficulty of escaping the past's grip. Identity and self-worth. The novel explores the themes of identity and self-worth, particularly through the narrator's journey. Initially insecure and self-conscious, the narrator gradually gains confidence and finds her voice. Her struggle to define herself in the face of constant comparisons to Rebecca underscores the challenges of self-discovery and personal growth. Deception and facades. Rebecca delves into the theme of deception and the contrast between appearance and reality. Rebecca's public image as a perfect wife and hostess masks her true nature as manipulative and malevolent. Similarly, the narrator's perception of Rebecca and Maxim's marriage is shattered as she uncovers the truth. The novel suggests that appearances can be deceiving and that true understanding often lies beneath the surface. Love and marriage. The novel presents a complex portrayal of love and marriage. The relationship between the narrator and Maxim evolves from one based on infatuation and insecurity to a deeper, more mature bond forged through shared adversity. In contrast, Rebecca and Maxim's marriage was built on deception and manipulation. The novel examines the dynamics of power, trust, and commitment within romantic relationships. Guilt and redemption. Guilt and the quest for redemption are significant themes in the novel. Maxim's guilt over Rebecca's death and his deception weighs heavily on him, while the narrator grapples with her feelings of inadequacy and complicity. The resolution of the novel, with the destruction of Manderley, symbolizes the possibility of moving forward and finding redemption. Rebecca has been widely acclaimed for its atmospheric writing, intricate plot, and psychological depth. However, it has also faced some criticism. Here is a balanced critique of the novel. Atmosphere and setting. Du Maurier's ability to create a haunting and immersive atmosphere is one of the novel's greatest strengths. Manderley, with its opulent yet oppressive ambience, becomes a character in its own right. The detailed descriptions of the estate and the surrounding landscape enhance the novel's gothic tone and mood. Complex characters. The characters in Rebecca are multi-dimensional and richly developed. The narrator's transformation from a shy, insecure girl to a strong, assertive woman is compelling. Mrs. Danvers is a memorable antagonist, embodying obsessive loyalty and malevolence. Rebecca, though never appearing in the flesh, exerts a powerful influence through the memories and perceptions of other characters. Narrative structure. The novel's first-person narrative allows readers to experience the story through the narrator's perspective, creating a sense of intimacy and immediacy. The gradual unveiling of Rebecca's true nature and the secrets of Manderley adds layers of suspense and intrigue, keeping readers engaged. Themes and symbolism. Du Maurier skillfully weaves themes of identity, deception, and the power of the past into the narrative. The use of symbolism, such as the recurring motif of Rebecca's handwriting and the burning of Manderley, adds depth and meaning to the story. Pacing. Some readers may find the pacing of the novel slow, particularly in the early chapters. The detailed descriptions and focus on the narrator's internal thoughts can sometimes detract from the overall momentum of the plot. Characterization of the narrator. While the narrator's journey of self-discovery is central to the novel, some critics argue that she remains somewhat passive and lacks agency for much of the story. Her anonymity, she is never named, can be seen as both a strength, emphasizing her struggle for identity, and a weakness, making her feel less defined. Portrayal of gender roles. The novel's portrayal of gender roles and relationships has been critiqued for its traditional and, at times, problematic depiction of women. The narrator's initial subservience to Maxim and her transformation through marriage can be viewed as reinforcing conventional gender norms. Despite these criticisms, Rebecca remains a classic of Gothic literature, celebrated for its masterful storytelling and psychological complexity. Rebecca was published in 1938, during a time of significant social and political change in Europe. The period leading up to World War II was marked by uncertainty and tension, which is reflected in the novel's atmosphere and themes. The interwar period. The interwar period was characterized by social upheaval and a shift in traditional values. The lingering impact of World War I, the rise of fascism, and the economic challenges of the Great Depression influenced the cultural and literary landscape. Gothic fiction, with its focus on psychological tension and the past's influence, resonated with readers during this time of uncertainty. British aristocracy and estate life. Rebecca is set in a world of British aristocracy and grand estates, reflecting the societal structure of the time. The decline of the British landed gentry and the changing dynamics of class and power are subtly woven into the narrative. Manderley represents the grandeur and isolation of the aristocratic lifestyle, while the characters' interactions reflect the complexities of social hierarchy. Feminist context. The novel's exploration of female identity and agency can be viewed within the context of early 20th century feminist movements. While the narrator's journey to self-assertion aligns with themes of women's empowerment, the novel also reflects the limitations and expectations placed on women in a patriarchal society. Literary influences. Du Maurier was influenced by the Gothic tradition, including works by authors such as Charlotte Brontë and Edgar Allan Poe. The novel's atmospheric setting, themes of identity and deception, and use of suspense and symbolism draw on Gothic conventions while bringing a unique perspective. Daphne du Maurier was born on May 13, 1907, in London, England, to a prominent artistic family. Her father, Sir Gerald du Maurier, was a famous actor-manager, and her mother, Muriel Beaumont, was an actress. Growing up in a creative and intellectual environment, du Maurier developed a passion for writing from an early age. Du Maurier was educated at home and later attended schools in London and Paris. She spent much of her childhood at the family home in Cornwall, which deeply influenced her writing. The rugged landscape and dramatic coastline of Cornwall became a frequent setting for her novels and stories. We hope you enjoyed this bite-sized guide to Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca. Let us know what you think of the book in the comments. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe and check out our other videos. You'll become a literature expert in no time.